Dennis, it's the SMT podcast, June 1st, 2022. They wanted energy. Here we are, buddy. What's up, Dennis?
Not too much, brother. Just happy to be on another show.
Yeah, man.
Glad that we got a moose sighting. It's always
A
shocking.
moose sighting. That's right. A moose sighting.
We're the claps, bro. We need the customary clap.
Nah, those are something that I think are okay to die.
They never die. They will never die.
Never die.
But,
Thanks for coming on tonight, Dennis. Appreciate having you on too, man. Thanks for being on the show. We've got like 2-3 really important things I want to get to.
Jam-packed.
One Dennis shared with me, actually. One, obviously, the moose is very sensitive to this thing. You know, it's something that he predicted. It's something that he called. You know, you got to call a spade a spade. You know what I'm saying, Moose? So
yeah,
we're gonna give you your roses tonight, if you don't mind.
The roses.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's get this thing going. We got Baby Yoda. We got Tim. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. And there's 19 in the live currently, and we'll see who else comes in later on today. Hashtag 2Live crew and hashtag replay crew for those that are here during the live stream, and then those watching this on replay. David, good to see you, man. All right, let's do a screen share. And because again, for whatever reason, YouTube doesn't want to give the ability to share links within the description, or that doesn't show the description, I'll go ahead and link that there. And then you guys can track that as we're going over the stories. And for those that are watching this on replay, you can just go to the description box and the links will be there. Okay. There it is. Should be active. Okay, we're good. This one actually just popped up on my radar this afternoon. Aggressive phishing attack is targeting T-Mobile employees. This is actually being reported by tmo.report.com. These guys seem to get like everything internally, like literally the day before it happens. Something like this as soon as it happens. Dennis, have you ever heard of or are you familiar with phishing attacks?
I am very familiar with phishing attacks.
Talk to me, explain to the lay, what is a phishing attack?
Yeah, so the way a phishing attack works is it's social engineering at its finest. Basically, Sneed, let's just say you work for T-Mobile today. I send you a email to your a T-Mobile assigned email, and it has a link that you should click on. It says something along the lines of, maybe it's time for you to reset your password. Click here to reset it now, because companies do that on a timely basis. You click the link, not realizing that it's taking you to an external source, and then go to change your password. And maybe you make it password 12345 this time. Well, now I know what your password is, knowing that most people tend to just change the N number when it comes to those situations. I know what you typically use for your password. I know your username, whatever your personal employee identifying login username is, and all I have to do is just use that information, log into your account, and I have access to everything you had access to at T-Mobile. Or maybe it's phishing for you to sign in or approve something. Like, specifically, maybe I already know your information, I'm trying to sign in, and I just need you to approve the two-factor authentication code, because most people don't pay a lot of attention to that. They'll say okay. So I sign in during a time when I know that you're working. You approve that response, and now I'm into your account. Something like that.
That's pretty good, Dennis. That's a pretty good, solid overview. Phishing attacks, I think, have become pretty commonplace amongst corporate America. Pretty much every business that has like thousands of employees is going to be subjected to this. What they're trying to do, obviously, get into the systems, get access to whatever they're looking for. Sometimes, I don't even think, Dennis, they know what they're looking for, but sometimes they just kind of get access and start snooping around, right? And it could be payment information. It could be login stuff so they can get access to certain systems. They want to bypass something to get access to something else. But according to the story, numerous employees at T-Mobile, there is a phishing attack, and it launched with the specific goal of acquiring secure login details. So they were specifically looking to get the credentials for certain logins. It says here, the text says that the employee's undesktop login is being deactivated. In order to maintain their login, they need to visit a website to verify credentials. So this is the notification that they received. And then here's whatever that link happens to be. I never heard of this term on desktop. Is that
It's
some kind of like internal tool or something that T-Mobile uses?
yeah, you can think of it. Are you familiar with VDI?
Yeah.
Okay, you can think of it like VDI. It's a virtual desktop platform that allows remote employees at T-Mobile to access basically different internal tools that T-Mobile needs to access from remotely, I believe.
Moose, do you think this was easy for them to get in?
Well, if you guys remember the story where they hacked the previous time, right? The hackers didn't steal any data, but guess what they stole? They stole information on the employees so that they could do types of attacks like this. It's
That's
pretty
actually
obvious.
a separate case with Verizon, actually.
Yep,
Oh yeah, that's
Verizon.
another thing.
Yeah.
So,
So this is
oh
a
man,
separate thing. Basically, it's rinse and repeat. It worked with Verizon. Let me do the same type of strategy with T-Mobile.
Says here, a trusted source say that the attackers are switching up the domains once the one in use is disabled, and that they personally have seen 3 different domains in use. So they're swiftly pivoting domains. Unclear if any logins have been compromised by the attack, but the source says the attack cast a pretty wide net. One employee we spoke to has received around 10 plus phishing phone call attempts as well. It's possible the attackers somehow acquired a list of employee phone numbers to use in the phishing attack, but that could be
see?
speculation at this time.
How else are they going to have the phone numbers, Need?
Yeah,
How
they
else are
had
they
to
going
get
to have?
access to a
Yeah,
directory. All right.
exactly. Come on, guys. It's pretty
This is
obvious, man.
this is a total inside job, Moose.
Yeah, it could
So, I mean, as far as the phone numbers go, there's been so many different breaches where those numbers could have been leaked that it doesn't necessarily require a directory instance. I mean, honestly, do you want to know the easiest way to find out what an employee's number is without having to breach the directory? Can you guys take a guess? All right, you guys took too long. I'll just give you the answer. You look at LinkedIn. You Google search T-Mobile employees on
yes.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, good call, Dennis. Facts.
And
Everything's out there. Yeah.
And fun fact with LinkedIn, LinkedIn actually has a tool that they sell. It's usually typically used by enterprise salespeople, but
Mhm.
TLDR, when you have access to this tool, you can actually see the numbers that people put on their accounts, as well as their addresses. So you can easily get this info from LinkedIn. You can target specific people of positions that matter by just looking it up on LinkedIn.
Tim mentions
Yeah.
that it's possible that this could have something to do with actual dealers. They have access to T-Mobile systems remotely through Citrix.
You're talking about LinkedIn Premier, right?
It's different from LinkedIn Premier. I am literally blanking on the name of it, but what I remember is you have to have a certain level of activity to actually get it, and it's often used by enterprise sales representatives. And Moose, behind the scenes, I can link to you a specific company, for example, that I know uses it.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Any other notes here from the story? Nothing really. That seems to be
I
it.
mean, everybody's going to try to get targeted eventually, right? So it's just a matter of time, you know? And what's it called? A human to human type of a hack is very easily done nowadays, man. People don't really pay attention that much.
Well, this is the reason why, like I always preach, remove the human out of the equation, because it's typically the weakest link when it comes to security.
Yeah.
And adopting a double no trust policy when it comes to your security measures. On a side note, by the way, someone addressed this, and I don't think we mentioned it yet, but we did get a super chat prior to this show coming up, and I feel like we should address it now from Chester Paul.
Mm-hmm.
He came in with a strong $20 super chat saying, "Thank you all for the good work you do and keeping us updated in the mobile telecom industry. Kudos also to Dennis, Stetson, and Carlos. 2 big thumbs up and then thumbs up emoji."
Thanks, Chester. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for supporting us. All right, man. Story number 2. You ready?
I'm ready for this one.
Hit me.
All right. This one you guys can find at fiercewireless.com. I went ahead and linked it. It's in the live chat. And then for those on replay, it's in the description. T-Mobile taunts AT&T and Verizon with no price hike. This story is from today. I guess it originally kind of like started catching some steam here because there's something to be said about this. Let's frame it properly. AT&T added a $6 charge or price increase to legacy unlimited plans, single line. If it's a multi-line account, they added $12. Verizon added somewhere between like $1 and $2 per line for whatever that inflationary economic relief charge is or whatever it is. All right, so everybody's line on Verizon went up $1 or $2. Then T-Mobile comes out and does this price lock and says, well, we're not doing that. So now they look like the good guy, right? They look like heroes. They look like white knights. So the timing is impeccable, perfect for T-Mobile to continue with their uncarrier, storyline the narrative that they're saving you from the other two. Okay, so T-Mobile calls out AT&T and Verizon for raising fees on bills, reiterating that T-Mobile is not going to be doing that. And at least, I don't know, for whoever has a line before April 27th or whatever it is. So the price lock commitment is in play. And also, they threw in this promotion where they're giving people $200 per line via virtual prepaid card. So that's up to $1,000 if you want to max it out with 5 lines. There is one big thing here, and that's you got to be on Magenta MAX. So if you want to get regular Magenta or if you want to get Essentials, it's not happening. You're not going to qualify for this deal. This has kind of always been my problem with all these deals that tie into Magenta MAX. Not everybody wants to pay the premium pricing. Like, what if you have like 1 line of Magenta MAX and 2 lines of Magenta or something like that? Or if you have like 4 Magenta and 1 Max, like they're not going to give you the maximum credits and they're not going to give you the same deal. And meanwhile, I think Verizon has loosened up their grip on that, and they're not just forcing people to be on premium unlimited. They basically opened up all their promos to every postpaid type of line. So
Well,
if you're
Sneed,
starter or whatever it is, and then the rest of them, they all qualify.
well, Sneed, real quick, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't even think T-Mobile does mix and match. I think all the lines on the account have to be the same plan if memory serves me.
That's my point. I was saying that they don't structure it that way, so somebody couldn't mix and match.
Oh, gotcha.
Meanwhile, Verizon does, right? So, and AT&T does too. Top to bottom, you can mix all these different things. So that's one of the things that I think puts T-Mobile behind the 8 ball, and somebody might make a bad decision and kind of go above what they, could afford. Because if you think about it, Dennis, what's 4 lines of Magenta MAX per month, and then compare that to 4 lines of Magenta? What are we talking about? $60 a month?
Something like that.
I feel like it's a difference of like 160 versus 220 or something like that. For some reason, that sticks in my mind.
Yeah, but then you got the free line deals and everything, so it can get Terry.
Well, that if you get free lines, I mean, I don't see anything mentioned here for getting a free line.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Here's what I am sure about, though. One, virtual prepaid card offers from any carrier tend not to be as clean cut. And I'm sure there's probably some other fine print that's in there that requires, like, say, porting a number specifically and, eligibility requirements must be maintained. And the second thing I will just say is the whole $200 switcher deal that they're doing isn't even anything that revolutionary or new. I mean, we just literally
200 is nothing. Wasn't Verizon doing up to 1,000?
I don't remember what Verizon was doing, but I was going to just reference the fact that we literally just came off the heels of Xfinity doing a $200 Visa prepaid card per line deal thing. And I know that because that's the reason why I got like 5 lines. If you remember.
Yeah, I do.
So, I don't know. Kudos to T-Mobile for writing a story and marketing, but this is literally nothing to like write home about here.
And by the way, I'm sure you're going to probably talk about this, but they did increase fees for activation fees. And I think there was one other fee, but it went from $30 to $35.
Yeah, but the crazy thing about that, Moose, is this is the 3rd time they've increased that price.
Exactly.
When they first introduced it, which was what, like post-merger, like right away, right? It was $20. So it's gone from 20 to 25, 25 to 30, now 30 to 35.
That's right. And what is there another fee or something that's also increasing?
Yeah,
That
like
was like some
something
regulatory fee thing.
and there was the assistant fee too, or whatever the heck it was called.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Okay, so let's take, for example, most people that watch this channel and watch all the video content and are aware of all these things, right? They're going to question everything. They're going to look at it from every angle. Okay, well, what's my line fee? How much is the plan? What's it cost to upgrade? You'll ask all the right questions and then you'll find out what it's going to be. But like some people are literally going to go through all these transactions and then at the very end they're going to be like, "Wait a minute. Why do I owe you this much? I thought you said it was this and this." And they're like, "Well, oh, here's this fee and then there's this fee and that price went up this month and so you're paying this today." And it's it's the classic case of the uninformed customer not knowing all the little ins and outs. And you ready, Pete? Ahoy.
Also, Sneed, real quick, I did just do quick math. For a 4-line account, you're talking about a $30 difference between Max and Magenta, and for a 5-line account, it's $40.
All right, so I was a little bit off. I think I estimated like 60, so coming in at 40 bucks on a 5-line.
40 on a 5 yeah, on a 5-line $40, 3-line $30, 3-line $20, and 2-line also $20 difference.
I do want to say this. Mike Sievert has been asked to do something different than John Leisure. When they brought Mike Sievert in as the next CEO of the company, it was definitely in his job description. We need to increase our ARPU because we've been trying to grow. Now we consume Sprint.
Mm-hmm.
If you can continue to grow, that's great. But they want to see a tangible increase in profitability. 100%. He's going to be evaluated on the ability to do this long term. And I don't care if it's like the ARPU increases 50 cents a quarter or $1 a quarter. It'll be viewed as a success if he can pull that off. And I've joked and said, it's like milking ants with T-Mobile when it comes to profitability. It's a tough proposition for them because they can't command the same pricing as Verizon and AT&T because of reputation. So people they're willing to pay more for T-Mobile, or excuse me, more for AT&T than T-Mobile, and they're willing to pay more for Verizon than T-Mobile. And I'm not trying to say it's right or wrong. I'm just talking about the reality.
Yes, but the ultimate reality for why people are willing to pay. I mean, yes, mental perception is one thing, but ironically enough, if you do a survey poll of what people think about T-Mobile, your average day consumer is like, yeah, T-Mobile seems pretty good now. The reality is, though, is that their network, the foundation of what they're trying to sell, just still to this day is not up to snuff to demand a higher price. And that's the key issue.
Hey, Dennis.
What's up?
I found a 3G only site in the middle of a major Colorado city for Zini.
That's surprising.
Yeah, I'm like, what the heck is this? 3G life. So,
but going back
to arguing that markets or locations where you can find 3G only on one network demands premium pricing.
I mean, that's a very rare thing, I think, for Verizon to see. Just throwing that out there. But I think the more important thing here is that in the majority of areas, T-Mobile has real problems. And it's with basic things that people would know. Calls failing, call quality selling bad, texts still to this day not always sending appropriately or double sending, data connectivity just straight out dropping due to issues, uplink issues. I mean, and then don't even get me started on the business use case with business features. Go ahead.
I get that with the other two in my market. So, are you saying that I'm a unicorn?
I am saying that while there's a chance for a carrier to perform badly in certain areas, T-Mobile more so on average has the common issue across a wider scope of the U.S.
So you are calling my market a unicorn.
I mean, if you want to phrase it that way, sure. In the same way that my market for AT&T is an exception, apparently, for how good AT&T is, your market's an exception for how good T-Mobile is.
I was gonna say, is AT&T doing 3G life over there too?
Dude, I don't think I've connected to 3G for AT&T in like 7 or 8 years.
Go check out Longmont.
Yeah, you don't find it here, but there are some spots off the beaten path where it's no service, and then you move over 3 feet and you're in 3G mode.
Look, I mean, it's
I will say one. I just wanted to kind of end this little piece right here real quick by saying I think T-Mobile jumped at the opportunity to take advantage of Verizon increasing their fees and then AT&T increasing their fees and then T-Mobile using that, spinning it to their advantage, saying, look, we're not doing what they're doing. Look at us. We are the friendly carrier. We're the uncarrier.
Yep, 100% marketing.
You know, however they slice it, frame it, you know, that's what they're doing. They're just trying to look like the white knight. They're looking like the good guy. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and transition to the next story. Let me go ahead and link it. This will kind of follow up to the last one we just did. This one is also from fiercewireless.com. And this came out earlier this morning. It was kind of funny to see this. People were tagging me. People were sending this to me, sharing it. I was like, oh, this is unusual. Because Verizon typically doesn't do this. They usually don't say or do anything directly to mention their competitors. So it looks like maybe somebody got under Verizon's skin. Okay, so this one also from Fierce Wireless. Link is in the live chat. Also in the description box. Verizon claps back at T-Mobile on pricing strategy. All right, this one's Linda Hardesty, though, this time. Verizon AT&T usually just ignore T-Mobile when the uncarrier takes public jabs at them, but not this week. Verizon said, will not sit on the sidelines and watch as the uncarrier continues to hoodwink customers by dazzling them with one catchy announcement after another, only to unravel and undo them just as soon as people forget. Okay, so let's do this, guys. What do you think in the history of the uncarrier? Give me the top 3 uncarrier moves. Pete, go ahead. Your top 3 uncarriers.
Ooh, top 3 uncarrier. Let's see. I like the Netflix on Us.
Okay.
The taxes and fees, and the MLB TV.
Okay. So that's his 3. Dennis, your top 3 uncarrier moves.
Taxes and fees included is number 1. The international like global roaming, including like the being able to travel between North America and Mexico, like it's like the States, is number 2 for me. And then number 3 would be the removal of contracts, because that was uncarrier of them at the time.
All right, Moose, you're in. Your top 3, buddy.
I think that the global roaming, right, is the aligning with most European and Latin America and even Asians carriers, right? They all have roaming unlimited. Let's see. The no contracts, right? It enabled, you having to just buy your own phone or to do financing through a no zero APR loan if you qualify. I would not do the Netflix. I mean, it's in the beginning, yes, Netflix was so key, but now the content is so trash. God, the only thing that's good on there right now is if you even are into it, is the Stranger Things season 4 and the
Hey, Moose.
Yeah.
I wasn't saying the Netflix on Us continued to be good. I was saying it was good at the time.
Yeah, at the time it was a game changer. I agree, Pete.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, Moose. I totally agree.
Yeah,
So
at the
that's your
time.
3, Moose?
Yeah.
I got I think I mean is if price still is the most important thing, the taxes and fees on us is huge. I think for everybody that's either 1 or 2, right? In terms of the hierarchy. So let's go with that in there. I'm going to go ahead and put the unlimited data plans, like no overages, everything unlimited. I'm going to put that in there because that was a pain point for a lot of people on bucket plans with Verizon and AT&T. All right. Now, I guess Sprint technically did it first. So maybe you could kind of poo-poo it a little bit, but they did do it. And I think the only reason Verizon and AT&T brought it back was because of T-Mobile.
Yeah, but unlimited data was a thing prior to T-Mobile 1. Like Simple Choice Unlimited was a thing. I mean, I guess if you want to get nitpicky, I guess you could talk about the removal overages with the whole throttling the 2G speeds and the, what do you call it? The rollover data bucket that they used to do. If you want
like it definitely addressed a pain point for the industry though. So like I like to include it in the top 3. The no contracts thing was good too. Like financing the phone. I mean, I'll kind of throw into that segment also like the jump on demand when it first came out was pretty big. So like I think just outside of the top 3 that part, but let's go with Netflix for the time. Tax and fees 100%, and then I think unlimited data. Kind of mainstreaming that. I think those things were huge at the time. And they helped the customer a lot and they made the carriers move. So I think those are all good qualifiers. I think you guys had good choices there. All right, now everything that T-Mobile has done since the merger that is not locked into the merger concessions and deals has been completely violated. Okay, so here's what Verizon published on their article today or whatever they put on their webpage. January 5th, 2017, tax and fees now included on all plans. Literally a year and a half later, they launched the Essentials plan, which does not include tax and fees. I have to agree with Verizon there. And it's not really me agreeing with Verizon. I just agree with the premise that the Essentials plan is not an uncarrier move. When they made that plan, all they did was create a plan that didn't include tax and fees, came in a little bit less money than Magenta, but with the taxes and fees, it put it like right there by $1 or $2. Like depending on where you live. Like I swear, if you live in a place that has high enough taxes, I bet you Essentials is more than Magenta. Like Chicago, Illinois. Do you guys want to check that? Anybody want to get me the cost of an Essentials line in Chicago, Illinois? Like I feel like it's going to be more expensive than Magenta.
I mean, taxes and fees, generally speaking, I'm talking about real taxes here, not the BS ones that carriers add. Real taxes and fees shouldn't be any more than like $5 per line.
Okay, so how much is the Essentials line for a single line?
I think it's $60 if memory serves me.
So 60 plus taxes and fees. Do you think it's like 67 or $68
No,
in Chicago?
It shouldn't be. It should be like around 65, 66 max.
Even in a place like Chicago?
Yeah.
Okay, and how much is a Magenta line?
70.
And you're going to be on what QCI is that? Essentially the worst, right?
Yeah. I'm not justifying that you should get Essential. I think it's a garbage plan.
You're not getting hotspot data, right?
They updated, I believe, to someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think is it 5 gigs now? No.
And what's the D-Prio? Full-time?
Full-time D-Prio.
Ugh. That Essentials plan is terrible, man.
Look, like I'm not saying it's a good plan, and I'm not saying that Magenta doesn't make more sense from a value proposition in a million different ways, but I am saying that it is going to be cheaper in all instances.
Yeah, so I agree. This is a terrible. The binge on was cool too. That's true, Fred. Some people really like that. January of 2022, fees were raised on both consumer voice and data lines. March of 2022, connect plans without tax and fees included. And then in May, they did the price lock only for lines, I think, before April 27th. And then June here, we're getting the increase in the assisted support charge and the upgrade support cost. Those are increasing. And that's like the third time that fee is increased. So like what I'm kind of going with here is the reason why Verizon is kind of pushing back here is because, they've increased their fees. They they don't want to look like they're the only one, and they don't want to let T-Mobile get away with it when they've been finding other ways to raise costs.
Well, I still think it's hard to look good when you're saying, oh, they're doing one-time fee increases and you're doing a multi-dollar monthly fee increase.
Yeah, but Pete, like, if I throw a rock at the siding of your house and somebody else throws a rock at your window, I mean, aren't you still getting rocks thrown at your house?
Yeah, but if you threw a rock at my house, I'd ask you why you weren't in eating dinner with me.
Yeah, but here's something I feel like that's worth talking about. So $35, right? So Verizon's increase is $2 per line per account, right?
Yeah.
How long would it take for a person who spent $35 upfront to upgrade their line, break even, versus like a Verizon situation? So what's 35 divided by 2? That's about
$17.50.
But like, how many months would that be until that's broken even? Is what I'm saying.
Oh, like distributed over 12 months?
Yeah, so 35 divided by
no, it'd be over. What would that?
That'd be
What would that be over
17
like
and
a
a half
2 year?
months. That'd be like 1.5 years. So what I'm going for here is that even though it's a one-time fee, well, Pete's gone now, but even though it's only a one-time fee, T-Mobile's making a lot more upfront. Oh, there you are, Pete. So what I'm going for here, Pete, is that T-Mobile is making 17 and a half months worth of revenue. Like, that's how long it would take for Verizon to equal that amount of revenue generated just from that one transaction.
Yeah, but if you notice, trying to avoid the fee with Esim and doing stuff online, most customers don't do it that way. T-Mobile even came out and said that as such 2 years ago.
Dennis,
Like when the pandemic started, they said people still want to come into stores.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying T-Mobile's making money. What?
This is also a $5 increase.
I mean, it's a BS fee to exist. I mean, don't forget too, you're getting charged.
I dial 611 and I don't pay anything for it.
Nope, you pay for the SIM card starter kit each time when you do an upgrade. They charge you for that SIM card.
They overnight me free ones.
They're not free, Pete. I promise you, they're not free. It's an activation charge. They call it it's basically an activation charge. They call it something else, but it's an activation charge.
It does not show up on my bill, so
well, I'm sorry you have a magic business rep that like loves you, but I promise you, dude, anybody that upgrades for T-Mobile, buy a phone, you'll see they charge you like a different fee on top of that just for activating when you do it online or over the phone.
So here's the thing. I understand this is not going to impact as many people as the AT&T and the Verizon increase in fees. The scale of the increase and how many people it reaches is much higher on Verizon, and it's higher on AT&T as well with legacy plans. But it doesn't change the fact that they increased a fee or two. They did. I mean, why are we trying to candy coat it? We can't. All right. They clearly know that they can't increase the rate plans. So they're literally dancing around that. And actually, I have to give Carlos his props here. Carlos called this 2-3 years ago. He said they are going to do everything that they can within the 3 years to raise prices on everything else other than the plans. And they essentially have. And I'm not happy to report that. We're consumer advocates here. Nobody wants to pay more for service. That's stupid. But the truth is they have worked to find things to increase fees on. They just know that they can't do it on the plans because it's illegal. Right? They would get sued, right, Pete?
Not only by the US DOJ, but I'd say at least 20 states.
Yeah, they'd be sued, so they know they can't play with that fire. But Pete, 3 years from the merger close, what's going to happen? New plans.
They may phase out the current plans and introduce new ones, but
Right.
the likelihood of those who are on plans right now getting forced to change to the new ones probably won't happen for another decade.
Why do you
I
believe
bet
that? Wait, I
I
want.
bet you there's going to be a new plan called like Max Up or Max Plus, like the moment that the 3 years from the merger is done.
Hold on though.
It'll be called like Max Up or Max Plus.
Hold on though. I want to know why, Pete, you believe that T-Mobile wouldn't force people off of legacy plans onto the newer plans. This has been
I
done.
think Pete's right. I agree with Pete. I think go ahead, Pete, explain yourself, but I agree with you just so you
Precedent.
know.
I mean, Verizon doesn't or hasn't still hasn't completely automatically transitioned data bucket plans to their low priority unlimited plans, for example.
Well, that's why I'm
Um,
saying it's likely to happen is because of precedents. T-Mobile did it with simple choice customers. They moved them over to basically the equivalent of essentials on the ones that were on the by the gig. AT&T's done it before with my family's lines when we were on like a mobile value share plan. It went from 2 to 6 to 15 to 35. Now, granted, it was better, but pricing still went up for it. And Verizon, Verizon is probably the exception case to this where they allowed like the 2005 unlimited to exist, but I know for a fact that they changed the pricing on it over time. So why do you think that T-Mobile wouldn't either change pricing or change the plan the customer's on?
Yeah.
They did it with OnePlus too. Even they did it with OnePlus even when because if you remember, OnePlus used to have unlimited data in Canada and Mexico, and then they introduced a retroactive cap to 5 gigs, going all the way back to the Simple Choice Unlimited, even North
so
America.
I've extended family who's on such an old plan they're still capped at 2 gigs. They haven't had a price increase since ever.
If memory serves me, that customer should have been moved over to the Essentials plan, if I recall, when they did the whole unlimited freedom or whatever they called it at the time for all Simple Choice customers being moved over to unlimited. Wasn't that a thing that automatically happened?
They shift over. They did shift over those plans, but they did not increase the price.
Okay. But the plan did change, yes?
Yes, the plan changed. I was on one of those plans, and the price stayed the same.
Okay.
All right. Next link coming up, man. Next story. We're just mowing them down. 5G providers begin to nickel and dime their way to growth. What do you guys think of that title, man?
The best title ever.
I know, I swear, man. I use this phrase, nickel and dime, usually when you're like being nitpicky, when you're splitting hairs, like that sort of thing. So I like this saying right here, nickel and dime. All right. Widespread indications the outsized customer growth rates in the U.S. wireless industry are starting to slow. AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile appear to be hiking some prices and fees to reach financial growth goals. So basically what Mike Dano here is saying is since it's going to be hard to grow and the market is becoming mature, you're going to have to become more profitable. If you can't buy growth, you're going to do it by improving profitability, increasing costs, and whatever else you can think of. Consumers have shown little interest in switching between service providers. So one can assume coming up here in Q2, whenever we get the results, churn rates are going to be ultra low. People aren't going to really be moving. The switcher pool is going to be limited. All right, assisted support charges here. AT&T and Verizon and T-Mobile have all moved to increase the money. Goes on to say here, Verizon's price hike might not be enough. Look at this, guys. In order to reach Verizon's 4% growth target, we estimate it would need to increase its admin fee by $3 every year. So they just went up, like $2 and something cents. That would mean that they'd have to increase it again and again and again in order to hit the 5+% growth in ARPU, which stands for average revenue per user. That seems implausible as the admin fee would top $13.50 by 2026. So just by increasing that fee annually, it's not going to work. So what do you guys think they're going to do? How are they going to address this?
Well, I think they pull
investors have an insatiable appetite for profit.
I think Verizon pulls a cable move 101. That admin fee is the equivalent of a broadcast TV fee. I don't see why they wouldn't keep raising it each year in perpetuity, like an annual event.
Does AT&T do this also?
Yeah, when we were talking about T-Mobile not raising prices, right? Like, if not to be too funny, but if you think about it, Comcast, and I'm using quotation marks here with my fingers, has technically never raised the prices of their plans in, like, I don't even know how many years, but they always get you with those broadcast TV fees, regional sports fee, modem rentals, etc. I think Verizon does the same thing. They're going to get you with their admin fee that they came up with, or at least until they get sued. That admin fee that they came up with, activation charges, SIM card charges, maybe it's the insurance costs on devices. Any way they can nickel and dime it, they'll do it.
I don't understand why they're not putting into account the new revenue stream of the fixed wireless. If they're making between $25 and $50 for every activation, like for each person who adopts fixed wireless, like how does that not help the ARPU? Like that increases the average revenue per account. You're likely going to make conversions. Like if that person doesn't have wireless, they might get it now, plus the home internet. Like that's like a match made in heaven. I mean, even Eugene, sweaty armpits, understands that if I get you for home internet, I can easily convert you for wireless. And if that person has 5 lines, well, he's swimming in cash. If they add 250,000 subscribers to the freaking home internet, I bet you they stand a good chance to get like 70 or 80% to move over to the Magenta brand. And he's going to see huge revenue gains. How are they not counting that? How is Verizon not counting that?
I think that Verizon is going to start adding more fees in terms of increasing the price of legacy plans so that people are forced to go to the new plans.
Play more, get more,
yeah,
do
exactly,
more.
the new plans.
Yeah.
Remember, it's in everybody's best interest in terms of the providers, right? The companies, to put everybody on the same plans.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. We'll see what they do for fees. But in my estimation, I just think you have to look at the new revenue stream. You know, like, okay, so Verizon just added 180. What was the total? No, the total was like, it was like 190,000 fixed wireless ads, and they didn't launch C-band until like mid-January, late January. I would expect at least 250,000 net additions for the 5G home and 5G business for Verizon. For T-Mobile, I expect that number to be even higher.
Well,
I expect it to be 300,000.
Well, Sneed, if we look at it from a business perspective, I mean, one rationale possibly is that for every fixed wireless customer, Verizon has to dedicate some extra amount of money in the form of CapEx expenditure to actually support that growing subscriber base, right? I mean, I think we come to a consensus that the home internet customer is going to have much higher demands than the mobile subscriber as far as broadband demands go. So maybe right now at the price point that Verizon's charging for it, maybe they're looking at it in such a way where it's more of a, this is to cover the cost of our 5G deployment and less to do with like net profit, if that makes sense. Whereas adding a fee, for something that was already so cheap to provide does, like, it's just all pure profit for them. Maybe it's something like that in the rationale. I'm just pulling at straws.
Moose, are we watching Verizon squirm for the first time?
I think they are. I personally believe that this is the first time that I've seen Verizon actually worried about their base, leaving, because now the base is realizing that, hey, I can go to T-Mobile or I can go to AT&T, and I don't have to worry about connectivity issues when I'm on my drive or when I'm on my
and Moose. Yeah. Verizon is having outages just like the other guys.
Exactly.
The legendary Verizon network is having its moments where it falters. So if you have stayed away from T-Mobile because of network failure, well, now Verizon is having those things too.
Right.
So then what's to what advantage do you now have? And big shout out to Chanel 808 Life. Big shout out to Lawrence. If you guys want to check out some more coverage on the T-Mobile home internet as well as speed testing in the Hawaiian Islands, subscribe to his channel and watch some of his content. Big time supporter, the founder of the Sneed Army. He said, "Today we canceled Hawaiian Telecom cable and now fully cut the cord 100% on the fixed wireless and mobile with T-Mobile." Big shout out to him, man. Thanks for the super chat, brother. Yeah, I think they're squirming, Moose. And
Yeah.
Pete, I'd like to hear what you have to say on this, man.
They are squirming, and you're not gonna keep customers if it's like the calendar year ticks over and you're upping an administrative fee or a property tax fee or a retail reallocation fee. I mean, the only reason why cable constantly ups fees annually is the media consolidation, where they're saying, okay, it's going to be this much more of a carriage fee to carry our 16, 20 properties, and since they're like a significant amount of the lineup, it's like the company ends up caving. But if Verizon just offers wireless service and it doesn't have the uptime it used to, you're going to get customers fed up if they keep upping the price.
What do you think, Dennis? I mean, I brought up that point. I feel really strongly about this. I mentioned this the last outage that happened with Verizon out west, where I think it was a data center or a fiber cut or power went down, something. And I beg the question, at what point, when the customer realizes, man, this is the legendary Verizon network is not as bulletproof as it once was, I'm still paying for a bulletproof network and it's not, do they start exploring AT&T and T-Mobile?
So I think that the outages, those momentary outages, are when customers start to look onto greener pastures. Events like that, or a poor customer service experience, when customers start to look on greener pastures.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think, and this is kind of touching on what Roger's survey shows too, I don't necessarily think a $2 or $10, or $5 price hike is that actually what makes them happen, like actually what makes it happen. Because what you have to remember is a lot of Verizon's, I would say generally speaking, a lot of Verizon's subscriber base is leaning more towards the older side, if that makes sense. Like as far as like a population distribution of subscribers, typically it's like parents with like family accounts, and switching requires energy and time and effort. And a lot
That's
of
right.
these people that are older don't necessarily like change. So it takes a lot to actually get someone to go from, man, this sucks, to, man, I'm actually going to actively switch, pay off Susie Q's phone, get my port out pins, get all my information so I can keep my number. I mean, Sneed, believe it or not, shockingly, there's a good amount of people that believe that if you switch from a carrier, you lose your number. They're not even conscientious of the fact that there's a thing called
I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to push back here. There's something to be said about your point. It is true. All that stuff is complicated. It makes people's lives confusing. But then Comcast and Spectrum change everything because they literally are gobbling up market share.
They
So,
also change your home phone when you move.
Yeah, but that's because
my
of
point is this:
E911
is
and
that
rate
bundling
centers.
game changes everything. You give people the simplicity of a single bill that has both your wireless and home internet, and they're like, "We'll quote unquote save you money." Dude, they're literally losing money on the wireless service. They're not making money.
Who isn't?
Comcast and
Yes.
Charter.
That's a retention play, guys. That's a
They
retention play.
literally don't make money on wireless. They're selling a line for $30.
Yeah.
Some of those lines might cost them $100,
Mm-hmm.
and some of those lines might cost them $12.
Yep.
But I guarantee you, the average customer is like $28 to $33 or something like that. All right, we got the bearded dragon. He's on the fiber.
Yep.
He's like, forget this freaking cellular business.
Yeah, I mean, cable success and the bundling strategy definitely can work for certain subscribers, but like I said, those people have to be in the right mindset to change, right? Like, Sneed, if I came up to you and offered you a great deal to switch from your 2005 Verizon Unlimited plan, like, would you even consider switching? The answer is probably no, right?
Not at this point, no.
Right. Something would have to actually happen with your interaction and experience with Verizon to actually cause you to give that up. And the same way that someone that has T-Mobile One Plus would be hard pressed to convince them to switch, right? Something would have to be really bad to happen with T-Mobile for them to look otherwise. And I feel like there's a larger proportion of customers that are in that demographic than there are as far as people that are willing to be more free to switch, because there's a lot of things that keep people sticky with these companies, whether it be the financing of the devices because of how those promos work with like device credits or whatever, that it's a very expensive endeavor and the pot has to be uber super sweet with lots of motivation in it. Do you get what I'm saying?
I do. Well, let's kind of pivot here. Let's recap what happened with AT&T today. Word is, we've got a June 6th date and time frame. AT&T is indeed changing the Unlimited Elite. It's going to get a name change. It becomes the Unlimited Premium. And this wireless plan is also going to have a couple of things change. The first thing is, and this is kind of a plus, 40 gigs of hotspot is going to be upgraded to 50 gigs of tethering and hotspot. There is going to be no price increase to the plan. It'll be the same pricing. You're going to get the Latin America roam, right? All that stuff is staying the same. The detriment or the negative, the downside to this, no longer HBO Max included. So here is my advice to anyone out there. If you currently have the AT&T Unlimited Elite, don't change anything on your account. Don't change anything with your plans. Leave it alone. You get to keep your HBO Max. For those that are going to jump on to AT&T after June 5th, you will not have the option of having HBO Max with your wireless plan. You will have to subscribe to HBO Max on your own, which, correct me if I'm wrong, is $14.99 a month.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is a ninja $15 price hike.
Yeah, unless you want to say the extra 10 gigs of hotspot is worth $15, which it's not.
From 40 to 50 gigs?
Right.
Hell no. Most people don't even use... I'd be surprised if most people use 15 gigs, let alone 40.
I literally only use maybe 5 gigabytes of hotspot, and that's
there
only...
are probably a handful of users in the live stream right now who probably use more than 5 or 10 gigs.
Listen, the only reason I would use hotspot is if my home internet goes down, and thankfully with Fios being more rock solid than normal, or than it was, I very rarely have to use my hotspot anymore. So it's like 5 gigs or less.
I use maybe 15 gigs a month, and that's doing concierge IT work.
Here's the thing, guys. HBO Max is no longer like an AT&T asset in the sense that they can just give it away for free. AT&T now is spun off the whole like Warner Discovery thing, and all that's left is an ownership stake in that new company. So AT&T would literally be cutting a check to the new Warner Discovery company for all those accounts. So they're
Hey, that still
Yeah.
increases their return when it comes to dividends going out.
well.
So
Let's
this is
let's frame this properly, right? T-Mobile's still offering Netflix on us. Verizon still has some of their platforms, right, with the Disney bundle, right? And then here's AT&T pulling.
so. I just want to say this because I'm gonna go off. I'm gonna go off
in.
on
Go in,
Dennis
Moose.
on this one.
Go ahead, Moose. Do your thing, bro.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you, boy? I told you that this was gonna happen. Nobody believed me. Nobody said anything. But I told you that this was gonna happen because the writing was on the wall for months that eventually, okay, we were going to see the wireless industry transform in a way that I have never seen in my life before, which is that we're going to regress, but we're going to regress in a way of pure connectivity and somehow partnering with content providers instead of owning content providers. The only reason why HBO Max was included in those pricing was because they were trying to prop up those subscriber numbers for HBO Max. That's why every single person that was basically on AT&T services got access to HBO Max. Now,
Breaking news, Moose.
yep.
This is breaking news. Fiber customers do not qualify anymore for HBO Max.
Yeah, so that's another thing too, right? Is that the 1 gig, 2 gig, and 5 gig plans, right? They were offered, right? The HBO Max included, right? But it seems that the same thing is going on with fiber. The same thing that's going on with wireless is going to fiber. So bottom line is this, guys. Bottom line is this. I was saying months ago that this was going to happen, that because of this Play Plus situation with Verizon, AT&T, Verizon, we're going to find ways to get rid of these extra perks that is costing them money. And it seems that just like with the fee increase, right, of legacy plans, and AT&T was first, it seems like it is going to be exactly the same way. AT&T is going to lead the way, but I do not believe that this is just going to be the final end-all be-all. I think Verizon is going to be soon here removing their Disney bundle, and I anticipate that Play Plus will be launched in June. Play Plus will be launched in June, and that's how they're going to be able to say, we still give you the same benefits, just with a slight discount instead of giving it to you for free.
Yeah, I don't know when it's going to happen, Moose, but I totally agree. I think Verizon, bro, these carriers are the biggest copycats I've ever seen. Nobody innovates in anything. They literally just watch one company do something and then they do it in response. Nobody is doing anything original. Okay, so AT&T, boom. They increased the costs on those plans, right? Literally in 2 weeks, what did Verizon do? Increase pricing. Right? They literally wait for each company to make a move. Just the smallest flinch and they respond and they react. Ridiculous. What do we call that? What isn't there like a technical term when it's like a quasi monopoly? It's almost like they're all in cahoots.
An oligarchy?
I think that's what we have, bro.
I wouldn't say it's an oligarchy. I would say it's
Collusion.
There's an FTC terminology that we're treading, you know.
I'd call it a cartel, especially when you look at the fact that driving around, you obviously only have one real spectrum dominant player in most areas.
Well, forget the spectrum for a second, Pete. I mean, just think about like the offers and the pricing and the plans. One company does something negative, the next company does something negative.
I think way back before our time, Sneed, that was called a trust, and we have a 4-member trust or 3-member trust.
And it's going backwards. It's not one company being competitive for growth and then another company responds. We had that for a couple of years. It looks like that stuff is gone,
It's like,
dude.
ooh, this is increasing profit for my competitor. Might as well join the ship.
You know what's looking really attractive? MVNO and prepaid.
Yeah. Well, if all of us heavy data users move over to MVNO, MVNOs are going out of business. Dennis, I'm serious. They can't afford to have. They can't afford to take 50% of the MNO business. They'll literally, their doors will be closed.
I think there's one exception to that rule.
Who owns their own network?
There's one exception to that rule, Sneed. Can you guess who I'm
Who?
going to refer to?
Mint?
No.
U.S. Mobile.
No. Big Cable. Big
Yeah,
Cable has enough.
if they can get 90% of their network traffic on their
No,
Wi-Fi
not even
hotspot.
that. Big Cable generates enough revenue from their home
they could
internet
consume
product
it,
that they
right.
can just eat the cost.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Hey,
And then,
Yeah, but only them.
and then,
Hey,
and then they
Dennis.
have the Wi-Fi hotspots, which offload traffic too. But go ahead, Pete.
Darian Smith chimes in saying, what good reason do consumers have to go with AT&T over the other two now? Like,
Maybe a 25% discount with fiber.
well,
Yep.
going to Dennis's point, I mean, you can get that cable box if you go with the Comcast.
You mean Flexbox?
Yeah, and then the cable box where they charge you $15 for HBO.
Yo, big shout out to Darian. Thanks for that super chat. This is crazy talk right here. We really need Dish. You know what? We do need a fourth competitor. Because Sprint failed us. It was never going to be them. Not under the Masa ownership group.
I mean,
You know?
I just want to really quickly point out real fast. First off, it sucks that AT&T is losing HBO Max because I actually really enjoyed it. It's one of my top. I would say it's my top 4 favorite streaming platforms.
Agreed.
But I will also just say, while I think this is obviously a downgrade overall, was anybody actually switching because of a streaming perk? I remember literally
No.
doing polls on Twitter. And
No, but now you're used to it though. Like you had it, you like it, you enjoy it, you use it.
And now you pay for it if you want, and if you don't, AT&T doesn't care.
Bro, but look at the value loss. Like literally me and Moose were talking about this like an hour before the show. Losing HBO Max to somebody who actually uses it hurts. $15. And Pete, is 10 gigs of hotspot worth $15 a month?
Hell no.
No, but
Hell
you're missing
no.
my point. It was in response to the question I was seeing in the comments about people saying there's no reason to switch to AT&T now and stuff like that. My point that I'm trying to get at here is you weren't switching for AT&T for HBO Max. HBO Max was a cherry on top. You were switching to AT&T for the network primarily.
Yeah,
And
but that was the case before you switched. Now it's become something that you enjoy, and this hurts. Like you maybe before, you're right. You didn't care about HBO Max, but like once you use a service, Dennis, for like 3, 4, 5 months, now it's become your staple go-to media platform. Well, now you're gonna feel it.
Well, I'm never switching off the Elite. I'll tell you that. Like my OG Elite that I have, never
Yeah, you're
switching.
good. Yeah.
It's the best
Oh,
unlimited
that's
plan
another
I've
thing
ever
to
had.
note. Dennis is bringing up a good point. As long as you don't change your account, and I'm not even joking, like don't even add lines. From what I'm understanding, based on some internal sources, if you add a line to your existing account, they're going to move you to unlimited premium.
Fuck AT&T for that shit.
Dude, I swear to God, I'm being told that that's going to happen.
So if you add a line, try and get on Loose Blue.
Well, like if you're going to add a line, do it now before June 6th, which is crazy because I have a 2017 new Verizon Unlimited plan, and I can add lines all I want. I mean, I don't know what the max is, 15 or something.
Yeah, but T-Mobile pulled a similar stunt, didn't they? I think so. Remember we were talking about the whole
Well, T-Mobile's their thing was if you want to get Magenta Max, you're going to lose your free lines on your older plans.
No, but remember with the new price lock, they talked about how it wouldn't be honored based off the pricing for adding a line, it'd be based off the modern day. Remember that whole thing we talked
Yes.
about it. So
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, it sucks. The years of good competition are gone because the
We had a
market.
couple good years. It was a good run, man.
Yeah, but it's gone now. At least until we get a fourth real competitor, which we're hoping on Dish. But let's be real here. I mean, seriously, let's just be real. Dish isn't going to be a real competitor for like another 4 years, 5 years.
It's going to help. It's going to help some people in some markets.
Like I said, though, 4 to 5 years before they. When I say a real competitor, I'm talking about one that has such a demand or influence over the market that they actually force the other carriers to respond. It's going to be 4 to 5 years.
Yeah,
Well, I'm an agent of change. I'm signing up for a Dish sim.
Oh,
Day
100%.
one.
hey,
Dude,
Sneed,
I'm
if
part of
I
the beta
can
program. I signed up for it.
if I can get the $30 sim, I'm signing up. But until then, I'm gonna say Dish. It's much like the Knicks. We don't know that they're good until they make it to the playoffs again.
That's right.
How about they're more like the Pirates?
Oh, damn.
What about the
But I will say
Phillies?
this. I will say this. So keep in mind, guys, this is still brewing. The storm is still brewing. Okay. I have a very strong feeling very shortly that there's going to be more things in the pipeline. Okay. Because there has to be a way to differentiate and make more money. Remember, that's the objective, to make more money any way possible.
I'm okay with carriers making money as long as there's a value in it for the customer. So like I don't only look at things from the consumer. Okay, I'm a consumer advocate. That's what we do here. We're all
Yes.
consumers. But as someone who's in a business and understands costs and operations and ARPU and all these things, there are good transactions between business owners and operators and customers where the customer gets what they pay for, feels like they're getting a good value, and the carrier still makes money.
Specialty service with an added fee for the specialty service is how businesses differentiate. As long as the fee is reasonable and the customer feels special for the added service, both win.
I don't know. I feel like something happened with AT&T in the last 6 months. You kind of saw the tides changing. Stanky came out and said stupidness like, oh, I really hate that I got to pay people more money now so fast. Like the whole world is literally in supply chain issues. There's demand, increased demand, decreased supply, and inflation is through the roof. It's like the highest it's been in like 50 years. And he's coming out, giving himself raises, talking about
How
I
he
don't like the fact
wishes.
that I got to pay people more money.
How
Screw
he
you,
would.
dude.
Oh, it's worse than that, Sneed. He gave himself a raise and then talked about how he wished he could cut pay.
Right. You know, like how, it doesn't even make any sense. Like how tone deaf can you be? So like he already was kind of like on my crap list for those two things that he said at those investor conferences. And then it only has gotten worse since then. So now
I will play devil's
I used to blindly tell people, go look at AT&T's offers. Chances are they're going to be the best value.
So this is what I was saying to Sneed earlier before the show. The main driver is still going to be, for majority of these switchers, who is going to give me the best deal for the iPhone, which we already know is going to be $100 more expensive due to inflation. We already know this, and that's going to be
look at the China lockdowns. They just started to loosen up.
the lockdowns. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely correct. I forgot about that too. The lockdowns are reducing production capacity. So clearly, they're trying as hard as they can to do production elsewhere. Brazil,
Luce,
even.
no doubt, production of the new iPhone is starting in July. No doubt.
Oh yeah.
Whether it's certain parts or boards or whatever. Manufacturing for the new iPhone is literally going to start in about 6 weeks.
Yep.
So if anything happens with more of these lockdowns and zero whatever, you guys know. I mean that phone's going to be freaking through the roof. I would say, Moose, tentatively expect it to be more expensive.
Let me look at the most expensive iPhone 1 terabyte right now. Let's see how much it's going to go up.
$1,500. It's $1,500, right, Moose?
$1,500. That's right. $1,599. I anticipate with the new always on display that's rumored, right, that it's going to easily be between $16.99 and $17.99. I'm not going to be surprised if the inflation gets worse. They're going to put in a tier. Yeah,
It's already been confirmed. The price hike for iPhones is $100 difference.
that's what I'm saying for this year. But imagine next year, it could be another 100. It could be another 100.
It's not gonna go like that.
That's what we say now.
I'm gonna have to poll the SMT Nation. Would you guys get mad if I just used all my same phones from this year for another year? Because I really don't feel like buying $5,000 in phone hardware for testing.
I mean, honestly, you testing with an older phone is actually more representative of what the everyday consumer faces. Plus, let's be real here for a second, and this is a hot, spicy take, but honestly, the carriers have a responsibility to not have the expectation that every single person on their service is going to have the latest and greatest. Like, case in point, AT&T is the example. The fact that they're not letting freaking any phones that are older than like an S22 Ultra have access to the Andromeda spectrum as well as the C-band is just stupid. Like, iPhone 13 Pro,
you really shouldn't call it that. You really shouldn't, Dennis.
the Andromeda. What do you want?
Yeah, that's not a thing.
Okay, DoD spectrum,
just 3.4.
3.4.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, man. The fact that AT&T is limiting it to just the 40 megahertz of C-band they currently have and not allowing those devices to use the other 40 megahertz is silly.
David's crazy. He wants to speak to my manager.
Plus, also, what changes are there that really need to happen between modems from this year to next? Like, what changes are we going to be missing?
Maybe a standalone 5G network upgrade of some sort.
But can the phones that we have today not take advantage of standalone?
They can.
Oh, they totally can.
Yeah, they can.
Hey, we got Darian commenting about DoD spectrum and C-band with a $5 super chat saying AT&T better offer the best iPhone 14 promo over everyone else. Like, I don't care, even N77 or N77 lower spectrum. Yet, like, come on now. Give me something good, AT&T.
Yeah, thanks, Darian. Appreciate it. I hear you, man. You're trying to celebrate something, get excited about something on that side, right?
Hey, if you want to celebrate, look at the Pixel 7.
What do you think that price is going to be, Pete?
$950.
So they're coming up too?
No, I paid $899 before,
Oh, so you're talking Pro.
Yeah, so the Pro, I'm expecting maybe a $50 increase, maybe roughly the same price.
Man, I gotta buy a Galaxy. It was really good to use the Galaxy when I was testing the networks last year. And I've been going all iPhones this year with the exception of the Pixel. I think I'm going to move back over to the Galaxy side of things. Maybe I'll get a...
Dude, Sneed, Samsung is the move for network testing purposes because of that service mode. That service mode is so freaking good.
You know what I need to do? I think I'm just going to send Pete my Pixel, have him root it, install Network Guru, and just call it a day.
Wait till you get another driver, and then we'll do that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's the tensor and not everybody's a fan, but like
I
the
might
actual phone experience is like second to none.
I might make Stetson do it since he's done it before on Pixels.
Yeah, but Sneak, can I say the reason why I'm kind of against that?
Yeah, go ahead.
The Pixel market share is so tiny compared to Samsung. I think that if you're gonna do it, you should do Samsung because A, it's what more people use, and
Right.
B, because it's the phone that I would argue that more carriers optimize for, or I should say Samsung plays nicer with more of the carriers than Pixel does. Let's phrase it that way. Like
Yeah.
Pixel on Verizon is decent. Pixel on T-Mobile is meh. Pixel on AT&T is like it had a stroke.
Moose, talk to me about the Pixel experience on AT&T, dog. Did we lose Moose?
I am not sure. All I'm saying is that the Pixel and the Nexus line have historically always been horrendous on AT&T. Source tried using Nexus 6P on AT&T.
I mean, I've been using Pixel on AT&T. It's not game changing, but it's functional.
Yeah, it's like saying a freaking Xiaomi is functional with just band 2 and 4. I'm saying Pixel's got real problems. It does not play nice.
Man, I was supposed to get Moose to offer some of his insight. He's been using the Pixel and he's been using the Galaxy.
Dennis, the only real issue with the Pixel on AT&T is the Pixel does not do what the hell does AT&T do on LT? Like 8 carrier ag. Pixel only does 4 or 5.
Well, that's a significant loss of bandwidth. And then there's the issues with I've had issues historically with Pixel supporting Wi-Fi calling on AT&T.
Well, that could be an AT&T issue, not a Pixel issue.
It doesn't matter whether it be AT&T or Pixel, regardless the feature has issues when you try to use that device, is what I'm saying.
We have Jose in chat saying I'm one of the few people who doesn't have any issues with the Pixel 6 Pro. Jose, my only issue with the 6 Pro was when I got it after one update, it started to forget my fossil watch, and after the next update that was resolved, and then I had no issues.
Look, all I'm going to say is there is a reason why iPhone. There is a reason why iPhone became my main phone, and I'll leave it at that when it comes to dealing with AT&T.
I really don't want to use an iPhone as my daily driver. I really want to stay on a Pixel.
I like
a lot of people talk about the Apple ecosystem. Guys, it's fine. I'm glad you enjoy that Apple ecosystem. But the ecosystem is Google with Gmail, Google Drive,
Sneed,
YouTube.
I agree with you, man. Google ecosystem is god tier. I'm not a fan of being logged into Apple where they don't want to play nice with others, but ultimately all the carriers play nice with Apple, and that's the reason why iPhone became my daily. Samsung is a very close second. The only problem with Samsung is that when I was making my phone decision, I wanted to move to just having one phone in my pocket, and eSIM support for Samsung has been pretty horrendous, and dual SIM support
crap
on Android
would be charitable on the Samsung for eSIM support.
And then dual SIM support on Samsung or Android in general has also just been horrible, which is the reason that literally that's such a small feature, but it's literally one of the biggest reasons why iPhone became my daily phone. I wanted to have one phone in my pocket that I could switch between any network. That way I don't have to carry 2, 3, 4 phones on me on a daily basis.
So, Sneed, MS and I are in agreement. If Google offered us for like a $50 upcharge, we'd buy a Pixel 7 Pro with Network Guru installed and no rooting required.
Oh, dude. Major.
I mean, to my knowledge, it's a free app. You need a rooted phone, and if it wasn't free, you'd sideload it anyway. So
I've just never rooted a phone, and I really don't want to brick one.
I've rooted 6 phones, and I've had 0 hard bricks. I've had soft bricks where I forgot to.
Well, I'm playing with house money, Pete. They sent me this thing.
I forgot to refresh one cache, and it didn't load, so I had to go back into Odin and reflash the same thing, and it worked just fine.
You want to maybe do this sometime in the next couple of weeks?
Oh, I can do it. Just have it show up. It will happen.
My dude. Pete taking care of business. Anything else for the go to the order, gents, as we approach the 1 hour and 21 minute mark?
No, I feel pretty good. I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Tell them what you're doing tomorrow, Dennis. Tell them.
So tomorrow we're having on a pretty exciting guest, I'd say, with Peter Adderton. He's the guy that's behind Mobile X. Me and Sneed will be hosting a show on my channel, Best Phone Plans, where we'll be
What time is it, Dennis?
7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
And we'll be asking him questions. I highly encourage everyone that's watching to make sure that you're in attendance, because there's a chance that we might pick your questions out to ask towards Peter as well. I know that based off our conversation today, we're definitely looking forward to more competition, and Mobile X might be that answer.
Running on the Verizon network.
Why not?
Hey, if they can do a reasonable price and not have like unfettered access, it's going to be one for customers.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to ask the right questions, and whether he chooses to answer them or not, if he wants to continue to, tap dance around them, that's on him. But the people want to know about the service. They're inquiring. I mean, there's one guy named Mark who has been like spamming all my videos recently saying we want Mobile X. And so there are some people who are amped up for it. And he really should be able to provide something after leaving people hanging for months.
I mean, if you're looking at a non 3G experience on Verizon and you tried Visible and you don't have any dead zones, Visible has been a pretty damn solid offering for Verizon Access. They can get in around there on Mobile X, but a little more expensive per line, better network experience, no hard throttles. That'd be nothing but win for everyone.
Pete, I don't know how you as a security lover can ever say anything positive about Visible.
He's looking at it from the value proposition.
Yeah, I'm looking at the value proposition to get in and use the Verizon network. I would say if you were actively considering using Visible on a party plan, use privacy.com as your credit card and try for the eSIM and don't use your real name.
And cross your fingers.
Yeah, if you want Verizon access on the affordable without sacrificing experience, for me, I'd recommend US Mobile. Sneed, I know you had some comments from before from initial impressions, but I still stand by that recommendation personally.
Well, word on the street is that Verizon is starting to throttle uplink to YouTube. If it's a Verizon thing, then it's not a US Mobile thing. And it's not an Xfinity Mobile thing. So I'm going to be doing some deep testing over the next couple of days. I'm going to record some content and I'm going to upload it over Cellular. And I'm going to do the same video. I'm going to upload over US Mobile. I'm going to time it. I'm going to do it on Xfinity Mobile. I'll time it. And then I'll do it on my Verizon QCI 8 and I'll time it.
And then
we'll
do it
see
on a
if there's
Magenta
any.
line.
Well, the last I checked, I don't think Magenta does any restriction for upload.
Well, that's called the control group.
All right, well, we'll try it. I mean, I can't do it for my house. I don't have uplink.
No, you don't. But
So I'd have to like go to just like the tower that's like a mile away. And
yeah, go somewhere nearby. I mean, we all know for some reason T-Mobile hates your house. I
they
mean,
hate me,
it's a
bro.
damn good house. So the guy responsible for your market needs to stop sitting on his balls and give you the service you deserve.
Pete, it doesn't make sense. Like, why can't PCS reach my house?
It should. You should go to that tower and see if you could up the power a watt.
Well,
Pete.
I'll say this: T-Mobile is literally better than Verizon at my house because of the whole powered down cell site thing.
But what I'm getting at is, if T-Mobile does not throttle YouTube upload and you can have comparable upload and download speeds in the location, then be scientific. Your control with a known non-throttled upload roughly the same speed. If it is noticeably faster, then they're obviously throttling it.
Here's my thing, Pete. One of the reasons why I still have Verizon to this day is because of the quality upload. Like the live streaming, the uploading video content. Verizon does it really well. If that changes, that's giving me another reason to leave Verizon. Outside of the fact they're going to start charging me an extra $2 a line on that freaking fee. You see what, like, this is 3 strikes, you're out.
Dude, you said you were going to leave Verizon back when AT&T Elite was a thing and it didn't happen.
Well, because the pricing is still cheaper on Verizon. On my plan, it's still cheaper. I crunched the numbers. Why would I go to pay more?
Okay, fair
Hey,
enough.
that's my logic for not going to another carrier. Why would I pay more for roughly the same or less?
But here's the thing. My bill's literally about to go up $2 a line. That's $14. So that closes the gap even further. So, like, I have to start looking at it like, well, now if the uplink sucks, that's another strike. So the line is getting more expensive and the uplink is getting worse, then we have a serious problem. Why am I on this network?
Yeah. I mean, you have a la carte access to every network. So if Verizon is
Like my dad, I can keep my dad on Los Mobile Red.
Yeah.
You know, my dad is gung-ho about Verizon, and I'll keep a Verizon line too for testing.
I mean, I've been using Los Mobile Red. That's a damn solid experience.
It's the best plan a man could ask for.
Except for the 720p video cap.
Yes, except for that. But the unlimited premium data, the higher priority, really helps.
I'll tell you what, though, if they put N77 on every damn site,
they could get rid of that cap.
Yeah. So they better hurry up and do that because, forget that nonsense.
How about we start with Verizon not down powering the 3 macros next to my house so I could have good performance again?
Dennis, I'm excited about tomorrow, man.
What's up?
I'm excited about tomorrow.
I am too. And I'm just praying that Verizon will fix whatever's wrong with the 3 cell sites next to my house so I can get good performance again.
All right. We're going to do a hashtag. Hashtag fix Dennis's site. Hashtag 2Live Crew. Hashtag replay crew. Hashtag ravioli gang. Hashtag save the bear. Any
feed
other hashtags?
The bear.
Hashtag feed the bear.
Oh, yeah. I gotta feed that bear.
Let's see. To everybody watching, thank you. We appreciate the viewership. Thanks for the getting involved in the live chat. For everybody who liked this video, thank you. If you haven't done that, please do that now to help out the channel. I have links in the description for all the articles and stories we covered. Also, my Twitter and my email address is there, and my Patreon page. If you guys want more access, early access, there's all types of content posted there as well.
So,
good for the go, gentlemen.
Sweet Sneed. Yeah. John McCallion is back in the chat, and he says he's going to be going to Denver. John, hit me up on Twitter. After the fiasco with EM Tech, I'll take random DMs. We might be able to say hi.
What fiasco happened?
I've told EM Tech to hit me up on Twitter so we could figure out a time to meet up, and he said my DMs were disabled to non-followers, so I enabled them. Yeah.
All right, thanks. Big shout out to everybody who offered super chats and everybody who shared this. You guys are the best. You're amazing. Thanks for all the support.
I wish I kept track of the super chats.
It's all good, man. You get one big group hug right there. Boom. You guys are awesome. Thank you. All right, guys. We out this piece.
Peace.